That being said, it is now time, as I said, for the Link's Awakening DX Randomizer run. Personally, one of my favourites. So we'll see how this one goes out. Without further ado, I'm going to shut up and leave things in the hands of your wonderful commentator today, or excuse me, your wonderful runner today, Warlink05.
Thanks, Psycho. Warlink, I'm going to run Link's Awakening DX Randomizer. On comms, we have Duck and Y2 Scouts and Mines. Say hi to the chat.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, good evening.
And like Psycho said, you choose NES Link as the sprite. I'd like to say, besides the sprite, there are some items that are also changed. I'm not going to mention it. I'll let the commentators will be reacting to it. So, if everyone's ready, will one of my comments count me down?
All right, ready in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off.
Okay, as Petition Legend of Zelda, Link wakes up from bed, Marin will say, "Sprinkle the dessert skulls." Okay. And Terran will give us our first item, which is a sword. And as I go around and do my checks, Plago, go ahead and start what this randomizer is all about.
Sure. So this is the randomizer for Link's Awakening DX, which is the version of Link's Awakening that was released for the Game Boy Color in 1998. It has all of the DX specific items and locations such as the Color Dungeon. We won't be seeing it today, but the photo booth is also here. And so all of the main items, weapons, secret seashells, heart pieces, heart containers, and many other things will be scattered throughout Koholint Island and not in their usual places. We don't have key shuffle on today, so while small keys, nightmare keys, compasses, maps, and stone beaks will be randomized in their original dungeons, they will be staying in their original dungeons. And yeah, looking forward to a great run.
Yeah, and as you can see, Warlink kind of off to the races here. First two major items are the power bracelet and the sword. So that power bracelet is super critical early on in the run. Without it, you cannot lift up any blocks whatsoever. You can't even lift up a bush. That may throw off some people that are used to Zelda games like Link in the past. But basically, you are constrained to kind of that western third of the map until you get that bracelet. But having a sword and the bracelet right out of the bat pretty much is going to open up a fair amount for Warlink. So you're probably going to see him go through the overworld here. And can I just say, I love the propagation of NES Link into all of these item sprites. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, this is great. I've actually not seen a seed with all of these before, so that's pretty cool. Warlink, I'm assuming haven't seen this sprite swap before, but is using the trendy game to get some magic powder. Yeah, there it is, a little bit early. The magic powder is normally you get that in vanilla when you trade the toadstool into the witch in the witch's hut. But you can also use the trendy game to get it just a little bit early and not have to find it as an item. We also saw a secret seashell there in the Yoshi doll location in the middle of the trendy game. There are 24 secret seashells scattered throughout the game. In vanilla, you would get the level 2 sword after exchanging 20 seashells at the seashell hut. But today it could be anything else, and the progressive sword might be anywhere.
Indeed. So, see when we're going through making some of these other checks. Link's Awakening giving us a little unique look here at something. Those crystals are a hard required sword block, so you cannot break through them unless you have a sword. So it does become a gating item for other than just attack in Link's Awakening DX. So, but of course we have the sword, no problem. This is another great pickup here. So with the Flying Rooster, Darth Plagueis, what does the Flying Rooster give us?
The Flying Rooster in the vanilla game is there so that you can access the Bird Key in Bird Key Cave up on Telltale Heights, but here it is a replacement in some cases for the feather, like we just saw there. On other screens we'll see it as a replacement for the feather and the boots at the same time, and it can even allow you to fly over water, even if you're able to land somewhere else on the same screen. You can't screen transition with it. It's a very, very effective item here. The only trade-off is that it can't be used in dungeons, just like in the vanilla game. But it will be seeing. I'm sure we'll be seeing it a lot.
Yeah, and the Flying Rooster will open up a lot of the outworld or the overworld checks now. We're only continuing to get rupees from some of these checks. Getting rupees is actually a pretty critical part of progression, as you saw in the shop. The 980 shop item is normally a bow in vanilla, but in our randomizer, it can be pretty much anything. And we saw a necklace in there, which opens up another check. And if that necklace leads to some other hard required progression, well, then 980 rupees are also going to be hard required.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're
Yeah, and I'd like to say that. Oh, the magic rod.
What?
I like to say. Like I said, I could technically like steal that item and just go with it, but under these settings, stealing from the shop is never in logic. So if that's hard required, there's gotta be a lot of rupees laying around somewhere.
And if
Yep,
you're
and of
familiar
course
with,
we don't want to lose our lovely Nami name for Link, because if you steal something from the shop, your name permanently changes to Thief in all capital letters, just so the game can remind you of how much you're cheating.
yes, and Y2 Sky is correct when he says permanent, because even the windfish upon waking up will call you thief, and who wants that?
Right, so Warlink showing us a unconventional way through the flowers in Gopanga Swamp. Normally you would have to get the good boy Bow Wow to get through to eat those flowers and get into Bottle Grotto. But the magic rod will also kill them. There's a couple of other items that can get you through that spot without the good boy Bow Wow. Darth, do you know which ones those are?
Yes, the hook shot. 2 hits from the hook shot will take out a flower, and I believe it's the beams or the spin attack from the level 2 sword, which Whirling doesn't have yet.
Or you can just glitch through them.
You can definitely just glitch through them.
Which I will demonstrate after this check.
Yeah, so Warlink heading into Bottle Grotto here to start with. Can get a fair amount of checks through this dungeon, but that's about as far as he's going to be able to go, because again, that rooster only working outdoors. The next room is has some pits in it, and logically does require the Roc's Feather to get through them. There's also a hook shot jump glitch that you can do, but obviously requires the hook shot. So, being unable to do that, we're going back to the overworld.
Actually, what's the set for a secret? Okay.
So Y2 Sky was talking before about how those crystal obstacles require the sword. Some certain bosses and mini bosses also require the sword. These moblins don't necessarily, but the moblin boss in the next room does. So this is a check that the sword is allowing Whirling to do right now.
Was extremely disappointed when I couldn't just burn him to death with the magic rod when I went in here.
I mean, logically it makes sense.
Of course, it makes sense. He's got on some pretty thick obsidian-looking armor there.
In the vanilla game, this is where you go to save Bow Wow from the moblins, but we'll anything could be here. And Bow Wow can be anywhere.
We got a pineapple, so we are. Does that mean we're some chicken and maybe some coconut milk away from a delicious curry dish, right? No. No.
In real life, yes. But the pineapple is part of the trading quest. But you would trade it in to save Papal up on the mountain, who gets himself stuck on the mountain with no food and no way of getting down. So much like in vanilla, we would get an item there. In vanilla, you get the hibiscus to continue the trading quest, but once again, could be anything. We don't know.
And the trading quest items are one of the configurable options in the randomizer. You can play with or without them in the pool. I find the randomizer to be a lot more fun, especially in the multi-world environment when you play with people who haven't played LADX, because I just love the confused sounds that I hear when my friends go, "Wait, why did I just send you dog food?"
Dog food, Yoshi doll. Broom.
And unfortunately, that check is another seashell for Warlink. Seashell's not doing much on their own. Just like in the vanilla game that you would get for the level 2 sword, you have to collect 20 of them just for a plain old check. There is not guaranteed to be anything good there. So it is not the mark of a runner-friendly seed if our 20 seashell check is required.
And it's always a little bit nerve-wracking when they start ramping up early on in the seed, because it's just something important is there, but like Point Two Sky says, maybe it's not.
As we walk over to the next check, I'd like to mention this. Like last year, I'm doing some sort of like a pledge or whatever you call them. For every single seashell I collect, I'll donate $1 to Nami. If I collect a golden leaf, it'll be $5. If any of those two items gets hard required checks under normal situations, I will double the money for that particular bucket. So potentially $40 for seashells, $50 for I do village skip, and hey, I did get all 5 golden leaves.
Alright, so sounds like a great donation incentive. And speaking of money, there's another 200 for Warlink, so we're getting closer and closer to that necklace check.
One thing to note about LADXR, if you're familiar with maybe some other Zelda randomizers, is that the maximum number of rupees that you can carry has not been increased from 999. Which, in A Link to the Past, it's you can go above that amount. But say you need the 980 rupee item, but you also need to do other checks that cost money, such as the Song of Soul check, you will need to raise the money again. So that's just a thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, if you don't know...
Excuse me, go ahead.
Yeah, but if you know the money glitch, like if you saw me when I paid the $200 rupee for $200 rupee, I save and quit at the right frame when the counter goes down. And since the Game Boy is not that smart enough, it just stops when I save. It doesn't resume when coming back into the game. Also, wait, did it wrong. Hold on.
We appear to, we appear to be striking before the sandworm strikes. So
wait, there
we'll
was a sandworm? Some people say there wasn't a boss there, so.
Yeah.
Let's see if we do that.
And so speaking of incentives for counting, so one thing we will be watching for Warlink to do is if Warlink picks up any Guardian Acorns or runs into the Power Bracelet block and gets the nag message, we are counting those for a little special reason too.
Yep.
So keep your eyes peeled, chat, and make sure we don't miss anything here. Alright, so coming up, running out of checks towards kind of like Castle. Now we're kind of making our way towards Martha's Bay. Pretty easy to get across the gap after we're done with these checks here with the Flying Rooster in hand. And again, you'll see the rooster can get us past not only pits but also water. So we'll be able to do a fair amount here. We're not really seeing much in the way of dungeon access keys or that ever crucial Roc's Feather. So it's gonna be interesting to see what the seed gives us.
Oh.
That was so disappointing.
Oh.
And looks like we're going to take a peek into the Dream Hut. We may see a skip here from Warlink. Normally you wouldn't go in here unless you also had the Pegasus boots. There is one of the little dash blocks here in the way. But we might get a peek at our first super jump here.
I don't have the feather.
Don't have the feather. Okay, that's right. So we may just be going for a right chest check here. And interesting little trick if you do not have the Pegasus boots. Much like the mimics in Link to the Past, you can manipulate them while you're holding on to the wall, and so you can just casually move them out of your way. I personally like to move them towards me and just kill them all with one spin slash, but Warlink being a little bit more friendly here.
Seed is being very generous with the money and not at all generous with everything else. But he is very close to affording that necklace.
Yeah, but the thing is, I need the flippers to turn that in.
That is true.
So we're going to head north. A few things we can look at up here, but I think we might be seeing a color dungeon play.
You might... See if I can do this. Let me see if I can do this trick. Oh. Oh. Isn't... Think this is it? There we go.
Oh,
very nice.
Very well played. Very well played. All right, so apparently you can push that block down the hole.
Yep.
Good little demonstration there. Had Warlink not been giving us the brilliant lesson, we did have the rooster to get over that gap.
Yeah,
also, another handy thing you can do there, if you happen to pick up the boomerang early in your run, that those items that are sitting on the ground, both at the heart piece surrounded by the bits, as well as that check there, you can just grab it with the boomerang.
That's true, and the hook shot will work for that as well. So we don't often see a color dungeon play in this mode if we can avoid it, because with the key shuffle setting not being on, there are only 2 non-dungeon items in here, and so so obviously all the small keys, maps, compasses, stone beaks will all be taking up a lot of these chests because that mode is not on. But in this situation, gotta check it out.
Yeah, it's a fun little dungeon if you're like me and grew up on the Game Boy original version and hadn't gotten to see or play the DX version until now.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was a fantastic thing for me to learn when I picked this up. Those little color switches, you've got to get the right color. You might remember this guy. He's kind of similar to one of the end boss phases, and just like the blob form of the final nightmare, you kill it with magic powder.
Should also maybe note that in vanilla, in the color dungeon, you were given the choice between the red or blue tunic, and unlike in A Link to the Past, those are not progressive tunics. The red one will enhance your offensive power, and the blue one ups your defense. Those tunics are both in the pool here, and you receive 2 items for completing this dungeon if you've defeated the final boss of the dungeon.
And the nightmare key was the Z2 magical key sprite. So yeah, I like I love the throwback here.
Is now a good time to just pop in with something?
Yeah.
Cool. I just want to remind folks that if you are not aware, we do have one incentive tied to the Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening DX randomizer run. We still have the date with Marin outstanding. We are at $114.20 out of the goal of $300 to meet to send Warlink on that date with the wonderful Marin. If you're feeling generous and would like to donate to Nami, !donate in the chat to pull up the donation link and help us hit that goal and raise some money for an excellent cause.
And not only would you send Warlink on a date with Marin, you also get to push a walrus into the pool.
There's one.
Yeah, we got one. We got one Guardian Acorn. That was almost unavoidable.
Yeah. There's.
It's our first non-dungeon item in here. Still one more to go. Might also be worth sharing that even if you're not familiar with LADXR, a lot of the sort of side questy things like the date with Marin to move the walrus out of the way and returning the bringing the ghost back to his house and then to his grave are not required parts of the randomizer. So if you love that date scene, then that's why it's an incentive.
It's also worth noting that the ghost will not show up at all after beating D4. The ghost actually is moved to Terran's house after you start, and will refill your bombs and magic powder for you up to 10.
And arrows.
And arrows as well, yes.
Yeah, it's there just in case you run out of those items and prevent any potential soft locks.
Right,
That is a
and
vanilla
is this
red
even
tunic.
randomized? We got the red tunic at the red tunic spot.
So you might have seen mention there in the text about the phone booths, because both the red and blue tunics are part of the pool, and you don't have to choose, make one choice, and be stuck with it. You can go into the phone booths and change if you need to change for any reason. And it looks like we're about to see Fishing Game.
Gotta love it. Wants to make sure that you know exactly what you're doing, so he will tell you how to fish every time you pay him 10 rupees. Generally, this check will take about 2 rounds on the fishing. The first run on the top is kind of unavoidable, but the second one you can generally manipulate it and make sure that you get the real prize, which is the big fish underneath the ledge there.
Okay.
There we have.
We found Yip Yip Ribbon.
Yep. They're conveniently located too.
These accessories.
Yip Yip has
Okay.
been holding out on us.
And we've got a pre-flipper angler key, so this is shaping up to be a wonderful seed.
So in Vanilla Link's Awakening, you get the flippers in Angler Tunnel. So there are some checks you can do in there without it. You can access it without it. Warlink has access to the portion of the mountain that would allow him to drop down once he opens that area. Having to dive it without the flippers though is also not always an efficient time. So there was really no pun intended when I said that.
So that is going to push us to Tall Tall Mountain. Normally, again,
Best
you would
music.
need yes, the best music. But normally in this cave you would need the boots in vanilla. You're intended to use the boots to get past this spot. But if you take a look at the pit formation, when we go to the next screen, you'll see that it is. Next screen after this one, it'll be traversable with the rooster. Oh, and our bird key. Well then.
Oh, the flute.
Oh, I was wondering for a minute. I'm like, wait, why is this the flute? Oh, yes, that is the ocarina, but it has been skinned as the flute for the NES Link cosmetics that we have going here. So very cool. Now, this is where kind of our that's two. Excuse me, that's two Guardian Acorns. This is where, if you've played Ocarina of Time, Rando, at all, the Ocarina in the LADX works very similar to that, where the songs are also items that you have to find. You may have seen very early in the run the Village Heart piece that Warlink picked up early was in fact Mambo's Mambo. So Warlink can play the warp back to Tracy's hut. But cannot yet play the Ballad of the Windfish or the Frog Song of Soul. Warlink will have to find those two songs.
Also, I'm sad that I don't have bombs to do my favorite bomb trigger of the game.
Which is...
You just yeet the pineapple to papaya.
Ah. That's a new one for me. Today I learned.
Yeah, because you have to go in the cave, go through the tunnel, go climb the stairs, go all the way up, and give him the pineapple. All you have to do is do a bomb trigger there, and you just basically eat the pineapple.
That's fantastic. I think that just kind of leads me to what I feel is one of the most delightful things about this randomizer as Warlink picks up the tail key. Wow, so we went from having nowhere to go to well, where do we go? But as I was saying, one of the delightful things about this randomizer is just there's so many little nuances to learn with things you can do with different combinations of items. It's just like I've been playing this randomizer for quite a few months, playing it pretty frequently with our multi-world group, and there's usually every seed I learn something new.
It's definitely full of a lot of cool stuff. I've learned a lot of stuff while running it as well. If you're watching and think maybe you'd like to try it, we definitely encourage you to do so. There's a great community and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and also there's a lot of people out there, if you're wondering how to do some of the high-level logic checks, they're able to provide you... there's like one person that did like highlight a stream that shows like how to do certain checks with limited like items and all that stuff. Each month the lead developer puts up a monthly async testing out some things that he cooked up. And also, like, we just rediscovered some things like, oh yeah, you can do this at this location.
This is the second Mad Batter location that we're seeing in vanilla. These provide you with capacity upgrades for your bombs, magic powder, and well, that's important, and arrows. And those upgrades are also now scattered throughout the pool. But the boots is a huge pickup there.
I have to say it. Every time I pick up boots, one of those. Let me just. Now I can.
They are a lovely black leather version of the boots that you use to walk on water in Z2. With the ocarina in hand, Warlink can also jam with the best girl. Despite their lovely duet, this is also a randomized location. Warlink will not be picking up the Ballad of the Windfish, most likely. But instead is picking up First Golden Leaf.
We did get a glimpse of another one up in the bombable wall location up in the mountain, which you need bombs for either to get it the traditional old-fashioned way or through bomb triggering. So if he is going to pick that one up, that's going to have to wait.
Yeah, I will pick that up since... Well, A, it's convenient with the bomb trigger, and B, you want me to drain my bank account for Nami, so why not? Oh, before I walk into that... Point.
We found another trade item with the broom. So we see Warlink making a play into D1. We kind of decided to forego the D4 play that we originally were heading up the mountain for. Few more accessible checks in here, I think. I think we're just going to get gated by the flippers too much with a D4 play this early. So I think I'm a fan of this one.
Yeah, gated by flippers and the feather because I need to top over some pits.
Yep. There's a fishing hook, one of 4 non-dungeon items in the tail cave. Some of the... We're getting a lot of the trade items together now, which is generally a good thing for a runner. If you try to one-off a lot of the trade chain, it can usually kind of send you off the beaten path when you're trying to do checks later. And if you have a bunch of them lumped together, especially towards the end, they're pretty easily dealt with.
What do you say? Okay.
That was a beautiful hint.
Okay, and I don't have that key.
Don't have that key, unfortunately. So we know our Rock's Feather is behind the slime key.
Let me see. You know what? In the words of a certain runner, let's cheat a little bit. I said, let's cheat a little bit.
Alright, so I believe what Warlink is attempting to do here is use the frames while Link is in the air from the bonk to traverse the to traverse the pit, and there you go.
Yeah, normally in vanilla you would get the Rock's Feather in this dungeon, so most of the checks are not gated by it, and there are ways around the ones that are.
You know what? Let's just...
Yeah, there you go. That one's one of the more difficult gaps to traverse with that trick. This trick is a little bit easier employed in actually in the side-scrolling parts of a dungeon, where you have a wall that is 1 tile high that you're trying to get over. That particular spot, being a vertical pit, was a little tougher, but Warlink easily over the horizontal one, and Spike Roller is going to bite the dust pretty quickly with that red tunic.
And Warlink is also in a position to beat the dungeon boss Moldarm here. This is one of the bosses that does require the sword, but he has a sword, so he's good. And because he has the red tunic, it actually goes down in fewer hits.
And with that, we have our first instrument, the Full Moon Cello. Chaining the first instrument is definitely a milestone of a run in my experience in Link's Awakening. In my runs, I clear a pretty large amount of the overworld before I'm even able to complete a dungeon. So having an instrument at this point is going to be a good boost to Warlink's run here. Cleared one of the available dungeons. Now we have options.
Let's just clean up some places.
Yeah, with the boots, Warlink will be able to get past that. What a strange object, and and get the second chest in Dream Shrine right here. And can also just tear through the mimics.
Playing this game, I often wondered what does Kirby have against Link? He shows up in seemingly two places here.
Not just Kirby, but we'll also be seeing Goombas.
There's Goombas, there's Yoshi.
Oh, you know what? There's one other thing. You know what? I'll hold that off until I get 980.
Yeah, we were looking at a Mamu play.
I was going to, but that's $300.
$300 and a pretty lengthy walk through the sign around the signpost maze.
Yeah, for one check.
Yep, one check. It's a popular fade for me when I play. But this is a good time for us to poke into the Animal Village because we've got a broom to give away.
I'm happy.
It's a pretty conveniently placed broom pickup as well. Bomb pickup, excuse me. Broom for bombs.
Yep. And if you're used to other Zelda games, particularly Link to the Past or even Legend of Zelda or some others, you're used to having bombs fairly early in the game. But in Link's Awakening, there are a couple of progression checks that will have bombs, and you cannot make use of any of the refills throughout the game until you obtain one of those. So bombs can end up gaining quite a fair amount and may end up not being available until well into your run. That is something to be mindful of as you're trying to learn this game. The bombs can be buried deep in a seed and not easily obtainable, but they'll gate so much.
Yeah, that's why it was that way. It was so crushing earlier when Warlink got what appeared to be bombs, and it was the gel attack instead. But that is the second power bracelet.
Also, bombs is considered one of the most powerful items in this game of this randomizer because you can do so many not only do so many checks, but you can do so many skips.
Yep. As Warlink alluded to earlier, bombs enable the famous bomb trigger, which essentially will make any cutscene on a screen trigger via use of a screen transition. So if you cause a bomb trigger, you will trigger whatever cutscene happens to be on that screen.
For example, I'll show it off right now. Because this is a bomb trigger that was brought up in the Discord recently, and people was like, oh yeah, you can bomb trigger here. Usually you're supposed to bring... It's confused, by the way, my baby wants a Yoshi doll. But I don't have a Yoshi doll. What do I do? Well, let's see, if I have a feather, this will be easy, but boots is fine. So... Thank you! Here, take this in return.
And Nami benefits from Warlink's demonstration, because that is our second golden leaf.
There are a few cases where you would use bomb triggers where you don't, just like that one, you don't need to have the item you would normally have. He doesn't have the Yoshi doll, as he said. You can very famously bomb trigger the egg open at the end, but you do need to have, the game will check to make sure you have all of the instruments in your settings. This setting here is all 8 instruments. The randomizer will allow you, when setting up a seed, to pick a different number if you want to have a shorter seed, but it will check to make sure that you have all of the instruments that are required of you. You don't need the ocarina, and you don't need Ballad of the Windfish, but you do need to have all the instruments.
There we go.
Yeah, Boomerang Guy had the answer. That's our slime key, and so we can now head to Key Cavern in search of our Rock's Feather. The slime key door is open, and we've also bombed the obstacle out of the way on the alternate path, so we're gonna take the shortcut. And unfortunately, we can't dash the rupees out of that tree. That is not a bonkable tree. That is actually a beehive. So we require the stick trade-in item to get to that. And we are in Key Cavern, a dungeon that is aptly named. There are 9 total small keys in this dungeon out of 18 checks, which only leaves us 5 non-dungeon items out of 18 whole checks. So...
Yes, and one of those keys is a duplicate, because you only need 8 to do a complete clear. The other one is just kind of also there.
I guess the developers were like, just in case.
I mean, spare keys, never hurt anybody.
Would now be a key time to drop in with some information.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great.
Awesome. To be honest with you, I just wanted to make the pun. Just a reminder, folks, we are still looking for donations towards the incentive to do with to do with the Link's Awakening run. We're still looking to meet that date with Marin. We're still at about $114.20 out of $300. And another one I do want to call out for the Super Metroid Varia randomizer later. We have a mirrored map incentive currently sitting at about $95 out of a possible 300. If you want to meet any of those incentives and help make some more fun for our runners and raise money for an excellent cause, !donate in the chat or go to donate.randomania.net for more information and to throw some money towards an excellent cause.
All right, thank you for that. Make sure you get those donations in because, like I said, I want to see the walrus fall in the water. So what you saw in the previous room there, that with that check, Whirlink is showing us our first couple of super jumps now that we have the Rock's Feather. The very short version of how this trick works is essentially we are tricking the game into thinking that Link is on a tile where you were supposed to hop down from something, and in doing so, that lets us jump a little bit further and a little bit higher than we normally would, and it lets us get over a few obstacles. At these 2 points, it let us kind of clear some crystal blocks that we didn't necessarily have access to.
We also saw Whirlink pick up the "I've got what was inside this box" message that is used in what is supposed to be the hookshot chest in Catfish's Maw, but Master Stalfos has stolen it, and you need to fight him 4 times. I'll just say that is a very funny one to see other people get for you in a multi-world, because it often says that they found you nothing.
Yeah. I got you nothing? Why? Alright, with that last rupee prize, Whirlink is about full up on money, so probably be visiting a certain frog or buying a necklace shortly. But for right now, we're trying to clear out this Dodongo-like mini-boss here. I believe it is aptly named Dodongo Snakes.
You know what? I don't feel blowing up that. I'll come back later.
What? Oh gosh. Not to worry, folks, because Whirlink actually has not reset that fight. We've just taken advantage of a little programming glitch there. Destroying one of those Dodongo snakes will actually complete the check, and it will, when Whirlink re-enters the room, the portal will be there, and he will be free to go open the boots chest. That does not work in any of the other
Right.
2 places in D6 and D8 that the Dodongo snakes live, however. You will have to kill them both in those.
Yes, I believe it's something to do with the warp after once the actual warp portal itself.
There we go.
And a nice
Very
quick kill
handy.
on those bomb bites by Warlink.
Yes, very handy that when you kill them with bombs, they reimburse your bombs. I believe that's the first of the upgrades that we've seen Warlink get in this run.
Oh,
Yep.
no, no.
Nifty little magic powder upgrade. And just a slightly quicker warp back than walking. Very easy to open these 4 key blocks in this mode. They are the bane of my existence in key shuffle, though.
Especially when the last small you need ends up being the 20 seashell reward or something similar.
Yep.
Yeah,
We have
yeah.
all done that.
There is a way to like glitch through the last key block if you clip in the wall and hold down left when you approach the last block and get the message saying, "Oh, I need something to fit in this keyhole." You'll be shifted to the left just enough to clip through the block and get down the stairs. So, and max. Come on.
And Warley quickly dispatches Slime Eye, and we're gonna get our Sea Lily's Bell. Along with Ballad of the Windfish for our trouble. So, we no longer have to bomb trigger at the Windfish Egg.
And being able to play that that song also comes in handy in dungeons 2 and 6, where you have rooms where you have to kill Pole's voices, because that song will just take them right out.
I was today years old when I learned that. That is fantastic.
Yeah, there are pull voices. Usually I wait until I get the shovel, but I'm going to do this now. I need a focus to get the sound cue. Come on. There we go.
So what we were waiting on there is to allow Warlink to hear the falling sound. So what essentially happened here is that Warlink was buffering with the menu to basically just try to advance the game 1 to 2 frames at a time until Link's falling sound was heard. At that point, if you pause buffer again and you hold down, you will do kind of basically a super jump, so to speak. And you will end up in Richard's Via. Unfortunately, we can't get the slime key spot because we do not yet have the shovel, but the cave item gave us a honeycomb.
And we don't know if that is required or not, so...
Well, I think it was rupees on the tree.
No, turn in the honeycomb.
Oh. Oh, honeycomb, that's right. Turn in the honeycomb, not the stick. So we did not go peek inside of the bear's bakery.
Do you have a small key? Yes, I do.
So in the standard version of this randomizer, that is one of the peekable checks, by the way, is you can walk into Banana Sales House, and you can walk into the Bear's Bakery and peek the items that you can get from there. However, if you are playing this on Archipelago, those will be their vanilla sprites.
Yes, because it's not. Because this randomizer and the Archipelago are maintained by two different people, and Zeke hasn't got around to update that, so of course bumps are here.
It is technically possible to use the boots to bonk jump all those pits. We don't recommend it.
Unless you're playing. Wow, this looks pretty heavy. You won't be lifting with the bare hands.
I think
Yep,
that's fun.
there's one message of Power Bracelet.
See if I'm.
This is one of the side-scroller scenes that Y2 Sky mentioned earlier, but it is possible to do the boots jump in the...
And this being a randomizer and having a magic rod, high nex is not a problem.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm pretty much loving the Z1 icons here. I feel like the candle for magic powder was a bit of a stretch, but yeah, I can see where it would happen.
I hadn't seen this sprite set either, so it's a lot of fun for me to experience it for the first time too.
Now we get to this infamous room. Will one of you explain why this room is being infamous, infuriating?
Sure, it is that. You see the order that Warlink is defeating these enemies? That's the order you have to defeat them in order to get the chest. But the game doesn't really tell you that unless you you actually go and check out the Stonebeak clue. And I'm sure we all spent a lot of time when we were younger trying to figure that out.
And that's why little me got stuck on that level for the longest time.
Mm.
Come on. Oh, and also... Oh. Here we go.
Very nicely done.
Gravity is just a suggestion.
Okay, I think I got this tech skip. Yep.
Alright, so normally when you fight this genie, you have to sit through a few fireballs, and then you have to smash the bottle against the wall 3 times to break it. Warlink is going to use a little bit of trickery here to reduce that number. And got to clip through the wall, and just one throw was all it took.
Also very nice that the bottle genie is susceptible to the magic rod.
I like that you can give him a taste of his own medicine. Alright, so we are at 3 whole instruments now. The run's starting to come together here. Still missing those higher level mobility items like the flippers and hook shot. So that's going to gate us from kind of the higher level dungeons until we can get to them. Still looking for that face key for D6. We've got the L2 bracelet.
All right.
Getting to D6 will also be gated by the flippers, so those are going to be very important.
Yes and
Not?
no, but
Okay.
there's a way you can get it to D6. There.
Yeah, so Warlink, he was talking about the glitch earlier, did manage to get it for free, but without incurring the judgment of the people of the island. So that's a bonus.
And once again, we're going to fade Mamu, which, again, I heartily agree with. That is a long check. Sorry to all the Mamu fans out there. And I think we're seeing a play into Cadillac Castle. I'm definitely a fan of this because you're no longer getting 5 leaves out of this and doing an annoying task for Richard. This is 5 whole checks here that you can do in a pretty short amount of time. So I definitely like making the play here when it's available.
Also, the rooster, even with or the flippers. Speaking of, but coming in from the north there allows access to the castle without having to trade in the bananas, which are traded to Kiki the monkey, who will then build the bridge. That does lead to an item. We might still see that check later, but it was not necessary for castle access.
Speaking of bananas.
Warlink, are there any other items you'd like me to say out loud?
I wish I have $1 million. How about this? Y'all made potato salad.
Shield. Okay.
Yeah,
Shield, close enough.
Canalets
I mean,
had
it's kind of
kids
close
today.
enough.
I'm going to come back down, so. See, flippers, I can do D4. Still missing the hook shot.
Magic Rod makes that fight with the spinny flail guy a lot easier.
Hook shot and bow.
Now, when I first picked this randomizer up, I don't want to admit how long it took me to remember that you've got to bomb that guy to get to get a check.
Usually you don't open this gate up because it just you usually return home and all that stuff. But since somehow I picked up bananas,
Right.
Let's go the intended way to get in the castle.
Yeah, so finding the bananas there definitely means the way through using the rooster through the northern part of the river is the logical way into Cadillac Castle.
Well then.
Let's.
So that is a sword power upgrade, and is really just a power upgrade if you're familiar with like A Link to the Past, where you might need the Master Sword specifically to do certain checks. It's not quite like that, but it does add a nice boost.
All
This
right,
is
so you
another
maybe
check.
ask. Oops, Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say this is another check I personally leave until I absolutely have to, just because it is kind of out of the way. But getting it done usually leads to some peace of mind that it wasn't anything important like that, like monsters falling out of the sky.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the checks that I was not aware of until I started playing the randomizer. So, yeah, if you're seeing LADXR for the first time, definitely do not forget the Canalit Castle moat after you get the flippers. And somebody just left a bow in the little drainage cave there. So yeah, you never know what you're gonna find. And as of right now, that is Warlink's means to defeat the final nightmare boss, because we have not seen a boomerang yet.
Let's do the best. Let's do the
credit
best
call.
check in the game.
Oh yes, and this is the music equivalent of this game, so we'll just let that play.
Worth it.
Oh! Alright. A little bit of extra money that fell out of our pockets because our pockets are too full as we head into the Angler Tunnel. We're set up pretty nicely here. Really only missing the hook shot. Trying to think if we're missing anything else critical at this point. Hook shot and the face key.
Yep, that's the two rounds I'm looking for.
And some of you might be thinking, "Oh, well, you're missing the Fork Song of Soul." Well,
We'll get
but
to there.
we can, but we can. But that is one of the bomb triggerable events in the game. Is you can bomb trigger the animation of the turtle's head at Turtle Rock. Alright, Warlink about to show us one of the... Oh, maybe not.
Gotcha.
Just
Not
showing
yet.
regular jump across the pit.
Okay, so boots. Do that. I'll clip through.
Yep. Yeah, and there's one of my favorite jumps to do in the game, because that little corner jump right there will result in you not having to use small keys to get to these checks here. So
Definitely a great thing to know for the key shuffle modes in particular.
yep, it's the mode that I usually play,
Me too.
and since why it's one of my favorite jumps.
So that is a vanilla small key location there that Warlink just did. It's a fun one because it gives you a glimpse of what the item is, so you can determine whether you need to go down into the side scroller room to go get it. That looks
Also,
like
if
money, so
if I have the boomerang or hook shot, I can grab that item mid-air,
yes.
and it counts as collected. And if it's a heart piece, you can go back down and grab it to get a second heart piece. See, left, right. Oh,
There
we
he
found
is.
Valo. Which monster put him in a chest? He's a good boy. And we see you at the swamp.
Everybody's favorite good boy in Link's Awakening. Just remember, Chain Chomps in Link's Awakening, good boys. Chain Chomps in Link to the Past, bad.
Yes.
see.
Know the difference.
Nope. Left. Nope. Let's. Down here.
Pretty much last location of the Nightmare Key, but we can do a quick little corner jump around that block and we're already through.
See if I can do the quick drop. I said, let's do the.
Nice.
Mrs. Spin, but let's just. I have no time with this.
3 bomb arrows is all it takes to take out the anglerfish.
Very nice.
Yeah, bomb arrows, pretty useful in a couple places in this game besides the iconic cave where you've got to shoot it across the 5 tile wide pit. They're great for taking out Wizrobes. A couple of other places that where you normally want to use bombs to kill an enemy, but the arrow will make the bomb just fly and explode much faster. So we are halfway through our instrument hunt.
Yeah.
Still no D5 and D6 access. We do. Let's see. D7 D7. I think we have to have the hook shot to get past one of the pits there as well.
For intended logic, yeah, I believe there's a glitched way to do it.
Yeah, there's a way you can do it if you have a rooster that I'm going to demonstrate because it's kind of fun. You know what? For Nami.
For Nami. We will swap the honeycomb for Nami.
And it might end up being for progression too, we don't know yet.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Alright, so now with bomb access, we're gonna head back up here, pick up a couple of the checks we'd missed in our first trip down here.
Warlink very appropriately bomb arrowing into Bomb Arrow Cave.
Ooh, there he is.
Worth it.
And if you don't play Link's Awakening but you play other Zelda games, you may be asking us, oh, why are we so excited about a boomerang? In Link's Awakening, the boomerang is the most powerful weapon in the game. It deals the most damage per hit in general. There are a couple of enemies that are immune to it. Otherwise, the boomerang will one-shot most of the game and do significant damage and only take about 2 or 3 hits to anything else.
Like that.
Yeah. Yes, and it's the reward of doing the trade quest all the way to the end, and plus going back to the the guy that gave us
The slime.
the item on the beach.
I believe in the vanilla game you have to trade in one of your other items as well.
Yeah, you usually trade in the shovel because at that point you already dig up the spots that requires it.
Although it is possible to end up with 2 shovels. and reach the inventory limit and soft lock yourself. Ask me how I know.
How do you
Okay,
know?
I'll bite. How do you know?
because the trigger for the shop having the bow and arrow is not whether you've already bought a shovel, it's whether you currently have a shovel. So if you've already traded it in, and then you go to buy the bow and arrow, it has a shovel there. So I tried to buy it again, hoping that would fix things, and it did not.
Alright, here you see a typical run back check for vanilla as well as this particular seed. We now have bombs, we can go and get that check. That is normally a secret seashell in vanilla.
Yeah, there's one item I left here. I was able to. I can get here much earlier, but it is. Let's just say it would take time to get rid of those top hats.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there are intended ways to flip them over with the shield, as Warlink just did.
Yeah, I think there are ways to manipulate them into falling into the pits, but
Yeah, like I said,
this-
it's doable, but it takes time.
yep, it's time consuming and a misstep can reset your progress. Warlink having to go into the tank for checks here because yeah, we're starting to run out.
Let's do what? Let me reset my save equip point here.
It was not the it was not the bush for the flippers. I have a couple checks in mind, but I'm opting not to influence Warlink's thought process here.
There's
Alright, we're gonna make a play to the south.
first. Let me check this. Yeah, we're already got that. Yeah, I could hop over there and give him the fishing hook and all that stuff, or I could just do this.
Hmm.
Yeah, this is an interesting bomb trigger because it's also one of the ones that doesn't require you to have the item that you need. Warlink does have the item, but he could have done that even if he'd had bombs and the flippers even without it.
Can I jump in real quick with some information?
Yep.
Awesome. Just to let everyone know, we've opened up a new bid war for anyone who's looking to throw some money towards things there. We have opened up the bid war for the Samus sprite for the upcoming Super Metroid Varia randomizer run with Grey Goo Girl. So if you want to throw some money towards that, that's an option. We are also still looking for your donations. Still a bit of time, but time is running out to get Warning on that date with Marin and get that walrus, I believe it was, in the sea. Is that correct?
Yes.
Awesome. So if you want to throw any money towards that and help us raise some much needed funds for NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, exclamation point donate in the chat room will get you the link to get to that and help us raise some money for an excellent cause.
All right. And with that, yeah, we're looking at the Armos Knights play here at this point.
Yeah, this is the check that I typically fade just because it's 2 checks. And you have to deal with these Armor Knights that are really hard to get around with if you don't have the proper tools.
Yeah, we're in possession of both a boomerang and a bow, so this is pretty easy. 2 shots with the boomerang or 1 shot with the bow. Killing an Armos Knight with a boomerang or bow shot guarantees an arrow drop, so you don't even have to worry about your arrow pool. But if you are sent down, if you are sent this way and it's in logic with just a level 1 sword or not even or weaponless or anything like that, yes, it's still in logic, but you could have a bad time.
Yes.
And that is our 4th Guardian Acorn.
The Armos Knight mini boss will also be susceptible to the magic rod, which helps a lot.
Yeah, having to kill that big boy with a level 1 sword is not fun.
Do not want, yeah.
It is doable, it is in logic, but it is not fun.
Especially when you have like 4 hearts.
Alright, so Warlink making his way back from the Armos Knight's walking back, so could we be seeing a glitched face shrine play here?
Nope. Nope. Due to not having a certain item, I had to go this way.
I think we're gonna see Raft Game.
We're gonna see
Yep.
Raft Game, yes.
Yes, if I have hookshot, I can go to ref game real quick. But no, we have to take this route. Yep.
So it's fun to note that even without flippers, this play is in logic because you can rooster over to that spot, I believe.
No, because it's one screen transition.
There's one screen transition, that's right.
Yeah, it's a higher logic with Rooster, so it's doable, but if you're doing normal logic, it's not. The game is not intending you to do it.
There are 2 chests that Warlink's gonna pick up down in the Raft Game, and we're gonna get one of the more underrated tracks in the game, on the game soundtrack too.
And we're so disappointed in those checks that we're not even gonna do the rest of the ride. But we also saw one of our joke hints. Yes, we know the mermaid is at Martha's Bay. Thank you, game.
You know what? I tease everyone about this. Let's do it.
Sometimes you have no choice. You gotta pay a giant frog.
So this is another one of those little fun puzzles in Link's Awakening that, as a kid, kind of tripped me up a little bit. It took me a while to actually figure out that the go this ways were extremely literal, and that you were supposed to go in line with the signs. Like I was just trying to pick signs, thinking it was random. Like, okay, I have to go up, and if I get it right, it's gonna send me the next way. Nope, it's actually literally only go that direction until you hit a sign.
If you like this signpost maze so much, you can set the goal as signpost maze. Basically, throughout the whole world, these are these signs scattered all over the world, and you have to do it in order to open the egg.
I'll take a hard pass and leave that for anybody else that cares to try it.
It was one of the monthlies, and it's in one of the options, so it's as terrible as you think it is. It's
The other really frustrating thing about that maze is that if you accidentally submit an input and wind up reading a sign twice, you gotta start the whole thing over.
So Darth Plagueis, why did we just pay King Wart 300 rupees?
Well, in the vanilla game, this is the person who teaches us Frog Song of Soul, and by person I mean Frog, excuse me, which is, if you're not using any glitches, necessary for obtaining the rooster, and then also getting into... Is that medicine? Yes. And then also getting into Turtle Rock. Here, he charges us 300 rupees to listen to his song and give us health restoration medicine, apparently.
something I could have paid $48 max.
Without the song.
Yeah, which we could still get into Turtle Rock with the medicine, but I don't know if we're gonna do that.
That's true.
Oh, we're going to.
I was starting to think that was going to be the play.
I think I have enough health to do to not need it, but
Yeah, I think so. If you're familiar with the original Link's Awakening, you'd also know that medicine is for sale at Crazy Tracy's, and she is still here, and you can still buy the medicine from her, but it is also scattered throughout the item pool.
At this point, we're going to see Warlink dive into Catfish's Mall. I think we're looking for a French vanilla or full vanilla hookshot here. The little mask guys there used to really annoy me playing this game as a kid because I was stubborn and kept trying to kill them with the sword, but basically any other weapon in the game, you can strike at them anywhere but the front. If you are trying to use a regular sword slash, you have to specifically hit the back. The flank or the front will deflect the sword.
And if you have the hook shot, you can steal their armor. And they panic a bit. It's kind of funny.
I don't know if they're panicking or if they always just have those googly eyes and the mask just hides them. Bit of hesitation there. I think Warlink's really not wanting to fight Master Stalfos, but I don't think we have a choice. Make sure that you spin slash Master Stalfos before he hits the ground. You don't get his horny dialogue, and you can just deal with him right there. I think we're just going to sequence right through all four Master Stalfos spots here. Nice use of the bomb arrows to really cut down on the time it takes to get through this check.
I believe that's all 3 small keys for this dungeon already.
the small keys that drop from the Stalfos is not part of the 3 from the chest.
It's interesting that you that it triggers the full defeat animation and not the escape.
Yeah, and if you're playing with key shuffle on, those keys are for this dungeon. So if you have bomb arrows and one small key, you have access to everywhere except for the boss.
I have learned 2 whole new things commenting this run today.
Let's see.
So here's a good point. Here's a good place to point out where I was mentioning about the bombs. If you come in here with the Rock's Feather and you have not picked up any of the bombs through checks, jumping and grabbing those bombs out of the air will not give you anything. So keep that in mind when you are doing your routing through this randomizer. You have to get bombs through one of the progressive checks. And that differs from pretty much any other Zelda game that I have seen. So now that we have defeated him 3 times already, we can come back here and his final form will be this spot. I think this is our last chance at a hook shot before we have to bail out of here. So let's see some vanilla.
That will be important later.
There's not a vanilla hook shot though.
Well,
This is a good seed though. It's making Warlink go in the tank. I like this.
there's 1 or 2 spots that could hold progression.
Yeah, I almost hate to, like, I know you can do it. I almost hate to make the Turtle Rock play at this point because we know it can't lead to your hook shot. Or wait, excuse me.
Here's it can be my hook shot.
But, yeah.
It could be my hook shot, but the chest, there's the chest that I need a hook shot across of it. That can't be my hook shot. And the chest off of the actual mini box that creates the teleporter can't be my hook shot.
I think we would also have to find your mirror shield before logically getting past the fire.
There we
Well,
go.
that's
Okay, that
important.
was a face key.
Okay, so what's fastest? I'm gonna go home.
That was the 3rd and final Mad Batter check as well.
Yeah, so now the hook shot is my go mode.
Yep. Yeah, and that check right there, that's it's no wonder that check was progression. That check is faded pretty often just because it's a compared to most other checks in this game, that's a fairly long walk.
Also,
Relatively speaking.
yeah. Also, there's another way to get to it, but it is considered a out of bounds glitch, or not glitch, like out of bounds. You go out of bounds, but for racing LDX or doing this once I'm randomized expecting you, is you can complete this without doing any what is it called? Woo-woo or something like that, which stands for wrong warp and out of bounds. You're not required to do those, like, forbidden magic to get to do some checks. And for that man barrier, you can get there from the man barrier from Mysterious Woods. I could have gotten that a long time ago, but since I'm not doing any out of bounds stuff, that's like one of the checks I've bid for a long time. Alright, Face Shrine.
Yeah, Face Shrine's a pretty good dungeon. It is tied for first place with Turtle Rock as far as the number of non-dungeon items that are available. There are 8 checks available in here that are not dungeon items. So, and we already have the L2 power bracelet, so we're pretty much set to get some goodies.
You know what? I do have the L2 bracelet. Or... Nope. Yep. Or I'll just do that.
Ooh. The joy of digging. That actually unlocks quite... Okay, we're just finding everything here. We do know that that stick will lead to money in the tree, so that's not necessarily of interest, but...
But we might turn it in because the cutscene is quite funny.
It has bees. What more could you want?
Bees come from a rupee. Do I need...
So I guess then they would be money bees.
Outstanding. But that shovel does unlock quite a few overworld checks as well. There's a spot in the doghouse in the village that you can dig. There's a spot near a spot in Martha's Bay. There's a spot in the prairie where you have to go through Abominable Wall.
Go mode.
Go mode, and then there's go mode, so we don't actually need to do any of these shovel checks I was just describing. It's, and then the last one would be where the vanilla slime key would be behind Rich's Villa.
Yeah, that's pretty fortunate for Warlink that the hook shot turned up right here. Getting the shovel late is not my favorite as a runner, just because the checks for it are spread out all over the overworld. Generally, getting the shovel early is preferable as a runner because then you can route them in with other groups in the same area.
Yeah, absolutely. But it can serve another very important purpose during the final fight.
And Warlink's still clearing checks, I believe, because we don't have a nightmare key yet. So we do need to find the nightmare key before we can really stick to the critical path here.
I really like this dungeon as well, but Vanilla Nightmare Key here is one of my least favorite things. Because it is in a very far out of the way place. It requires all 3 small keys. More Dodongo snakes.
Yeah, typically when I'm coming in here, I usually already have the nightmare key.
Okay.
Definitely makes it a lot easier to handle.
How many small keys I have? 2. Okay. That's plenty.
Alright, we come across one of every Zelda runner's favorite type of room, a tile room. Link's Awakening, they're a little less painful, just because of the hitbox that the tiles have, and hitbox of Link's sword. If you constantly swing your sword, you won't ever get hit by a tile. If you constantly hold out your shield, you can just hold the button and you won't get hit by a tile. It's much more. These tile rooms are much more forgiving in this game than they are in, say, Link to the Past, for example.
That.
And we did a lovely little super jump there. I can't tell you the number of times that I have not had the crystal switch flipped in the right place. Walked into that room, like, okay.
The long, slow walk back. Or save and quitting back, but still, longer than you want.
So thank you, Warlink, for showing me where I should be super jumping in that room.
Yep.
That's another thing you learned today.
I know.
How do I get up there? Simple.
Yeah, that thing I was saying about the Dodongo snakes and the 3 small keys. I don't know how to do that super jump. But that was vanilla.
Who put vanilla in my randomizer? Okay. Let's see how many times how many tries I can do this. There we go. Hi, Dodongos. Bye, Dodongos.
Warlink's showing us some fantastic super jump execution here in this dungeon.
Yeah, really, really great.
Makes me wish we had one of the little controller overlays where we could see the buttons that was that were being pushed.
Yeah.
That's okay. I'll just bug him to teach me how to do it next time we have a multi-world.
Yeah. And for that jump, it's really tricky because I have to line up at the right spot to not only to jump over, but to have enough momentum to get over that barrier. And with this Link sprite, it's really hard to line up perfectly. So I was surprised I was able to get it first try. So
in that previous room there, the point to the mechanism for opening the door is getting all 4 of the gels to fall down the pit. Link can also fall down the pit. He cannot get pulled into the vacuum thing though, because that will take him out of the room. And it looks like Warlink got in ahead of the facade text box, and so this is going to be a very, very fast fight.
Already done.
5 bombs.
I definitely have a memory of this particular spot in the game as a kid. As like, oh wow, the plot of the game is just getting extremely interesting now, because behind the Armos Knight that we checked earlier is where you kind of get the big reveal of the true nature of Koholint Island, right? And so killing this boss and having it tell you what it just did there, confirming what you saw behind the Armos Knight is kind of hit a point where like, oh gosh, now I really got to beat this game and like figure out how it ends.
For sure. So we also saw Warlink pick up Frog Song of Soul there, which means he technically doesn't have to bomb trigger Turtle Rock open.
But where's...
I have a feeling we'll be seeing it anyway for the swag.
Yeah, because reasons.
Reasons. I mean, we already told everybody you'd be doing it, so you can't go back on that now.
Yeah.
And so with Hookshot in hand, take our second dip, both literal and figurative, into Catfish's Maw.
And we're just going straight to the boss. You know what?
Yep.
You know what? Is this a seashell?
Yeah, for now.
Nope.
Oh, even better. Even better, it's a golden leaf. That's
That's more
really
money.
use a boost. Yeah. Alright, so normally a mini boss called the Goma Twins lives here, but Warlink is going to show us one of two paths to be able to skip that boss. Normally you'd unlock that key block there in the bottom left of the screen, and that the room to the left has the Goma Twins in it, and you defeating them would open the door at the top to go around, but Warlink is going to show us a nifty little hookshot clip to just bypass all that and go to the secret passage. Another way to do that is just to the right of the first Master Stalfos battle room, and getting that chest that has the vanilla Master Stalfos note. That passage will take you to a passage that comes around to the left side of those blocks, and you can corner jump to that spot. So, two ways to bypass that mini boss fight if you are speedrunning this dungeon.
Yeah, learning about that block clip was life changing, and I learned it from Warlink actually. Because if you're in a key shuffle mode, that means you only need 2 smalls to full clear the dungeon. Slime Meal, another boss that is requires the sword to go down.
If you have both the Pegasus Boots and the Rock's Feather, you can get away with only one if you're not checking any other chests, because you're able to just go straight from. You're able to use the one key to get to Master Stalfos' first room, and then you're at the passage and can do the corner jump.
Yeah, it really comes down to where in your journey Catfish's Moth falls. But if you need to do a full clear, that block clip helps you do a lot with fewer keys.
Yeah, D5 is one of those that you really want to pick up and learn the different paths through it, because it's one of the few dungeons that does not require a key to open, so the game will likely send you in there early to do some checks. So any way you know to get you through the dungeon without having to full clear it is a big help for D5 especially.
You know what?
Do we have time for a quick donation?
Go
Yes,
right
we do.
ahead.
Awesome. We have an anonymous $15 donation that says, and I need to put on my proper voice to this, so excuse me a second. Great! I can't wait to bomb the Dongos. Not the right game, but you know what? The spirit is there. So thank you for your donation. We appreciate it. That was thrown towards our getting our date with Marin. Still a little bit of time left, but time is running out. So if you want to contribute towards that, now's the perfect time to get your donations in to help get that date with Marin, get that walrus into the water, and still some time as well to throw some money towards our Samus Sprite incentive or bid war. Excuse me. A couple of the options here: we have Arrow / Ace Pride, we have Buff Kirby, we have MB Pride, we have Maria Reynard. Hopefully, I pronounced that right. We have normal Samus, and we have Trans Pride as well. So if you want to throw anything towards that, exclamation point donate in the chat to drag up the donation link to help raise money for an excellent cause.
Those all sound like great options.
I know. It'd be fantastic. Very quick peek at the good boy Bow Wow right there in the swamp.
After finding him in the item pool, he will, true to the message, he will be there waiting for you when you enter the swamp area.
Such a nice boy.
Okay, so
It seems like a kind of nice routing turn of events for Warlink, because he's going to get to do D7 and D8 in one trip up the mountain.
Yeah, that's gonna play pretty well into the end of the game, and and be able to clear that, not having to go back south for everything. Just just 2 dungeons in the egg right there. I think we're gonna see a trick to getting that. Yep. Wow. So an item pickup is also subject to the bomb trigger. Good to know.
I know I'm in Gummo, but let's see what are the 5 chess holds today.
Oh yeah, we're gonna play chess game.
Yep. After I get the one outside because I need to reset this room.
Yep, to be able to get all 5 chests, you actually have to go outside and back in that way. Otherwise, you have to push the blocks in a way that would obstruct your access to one of the 5 there.
Yep. And these 5 chests are not part of the logic item pool, and they can be bombs, arrows, magic powder, rupees, or seashells. If you somehow seashells show up, they're not part of the logic, so survey says
Yes.
Arrows.
no,
One
not
arrow.
arrows, a single arrow. Joy?
Joy?
Joy.
Yep. Yep, all of them are single arrows. If you ever play Link to the Past, the chest after the Modorn fight up in Ganon's Tower is the single arrow. We call that the validation arrow. So technically, I validated the seed.
You validated the
Oh,
seed twice. Oh, that would have been nice.
Thanks, Seed.
That would have been fantastic about half
Like-
an hour ago.
Ish.
It's like the Seed's teasing him for having routed efficiently because there wasn't as
Ah.
much to do up
Yeah,
here.
Yeah,
Hint
I did
owls,
have-
hint owls have jokes.
yeah. If I had bombs, I would have hit that up. And this is the location that you need the hook shot to get across this pit. But if you have the rooster, I say if you have the rooster and proper timing. I said proper timing.
I'm gonna make a mental note of that one.
Yeah, I usually do that for asyncs because in the current version of the archipelago, if you have a turn on your YAML, right there is a teleporter space. So you go up there, activate that, and you can just if you have access to open up D7, you can go ahead and do all the checks there and come back later.
So this dungeon has 3 small keys. You really only need one, and we're going to be seeing it very soon because in this mode we know exactly where it is.
I was going to say $10 the small keys right there.
Oh, I'm sorry. That has to be there in non-key shuffle, or you can't get through the dungeon.
Also, like Flago said, you can only need one small key for this dungeon. There is a jump, super jump, that you can do. That if you're able to pull off, you can complete this with 0 keys. And I'll show you real quick. It's basically this room. If you super jump this bottom wall right there and jump over here while this peg is up, you can get up here, walk all the way up here, do that, hit the switch to lower that, and you can do the rest of the tower as usual. So, if you're able to pull that off, you can enter here with no keys. And you're out there saying, wait, what about the nightmare key? I'll demonstrate it. Let's see. Okay. And also this dungeon can be either the best dungeon to complete or a total pain.
It all depends on, do you have bombs to bomb trigger?
Bomb trigger makes a huge difference in this dungeon. Normally in vanilla you would have to bring that ball right there around to 4 rooms in order to take down all of those pillars. Bit of an elaborate puzzle, but why do that when you have the power of bomb? So by doing that, like we were saying earlier, Warlink is activating the cutscene, which has the effect of just taking the bombs down, the pillars down.
And also for bomb triggers, it will not work if on the floor you try to attempt to do the bomb trigger, if an arrow is fired, because that arrow is put into the long story short, that arrow messes up the bomb trigger and you have to reset the floor. And just like that,
The 4th floor becomes the 3rd floor without ever using the giant ball once.
there's the nightmare key.
There it is. That was very effective use of super jumping there. Otherwise, it would have needed to
See ya.
bring those blocks down using a switch, like that one. But he doesn't have to.
And that particular set of switch blocks that wrap around that chest is a relatively difficult one to set up.
Oh, this is the door you need to get in to continue on to get to the boss. You can do that, or I'm going to attempt this once. If you do a precise super jump, I need there. I need to lose the piece of power.
Yeah, the speed probably throwing off your timing.
Yeah, I need to clip into it. Clip into this wall. Hop there, jump, jump. Basically, hop on this, jump over there, and get to the room with the door. So that's how you do it without the nightmare key. So
Okay.
And
There's another super jump you can do that involves hitting one of the Goombas in the right spot, but that one is
it's called Goomba surfing, and it's RMG dependent. So
also those two nightmare door skips are the only two that are not two skips of the boss doors that are not considered out of bounds, because you're not going straight to the boss. Evil Eagle's gonna have a bad day.
oh, I did get fake floors.
Yeah, Magic Rod's pretty effective against the Eagle here. 3 hits is all it takes.
I believe
Yeah,
it's
I
also...
didn't-
Sorry, I believe it's also 3 hits with the level 2 sword and the red tunic. But always with the magic rod, no matter what your tunic situation is.
Do we have time for a quick donation?
Yep.
Awesome. We have $25 from Soulmas218. Throwing it towards putting Buff Kirby as our Samus sprite for the Super Metroid Varia run. Thank you so much for your donation. That puts Buff Kirby in the lead for the Samus sprite for the Super Metroid Varia run. If anyone wants to change that, now's a good time to get your donations in. Also, we are coming up on time for getting to our date with Marin, so now's a good time to get donations in for that if you really want to see that objective being met.
Yeah, I can literally stop what I'm doing and we're going on that date. Even if we already defeat the final boss and we're about to call time, if that $300 instead hits, I will reset and go on that date. And redo the whole fight.
We are going to see Marin very shortly. Briefly. But it's not a date. It's definitely not a date, because Nami's not sticking around then.
We have no time. Gotta go, gotta go.
By doing that skip with the rooster, Morlink just avoided a pretty long cutscene where Link rescues Marin and then Tarin shows up, and when you're just trying to get to Turtle Rock, that scene will show up on that screen if you have already completed Dungeon 7. If you are being the seed is ushering you towards Turtle Rock first, it won't be there.
Okay. Let's see. I think that's good.
Yeah, normally that flamethrower does a whole lot of damage to you, but if you clip into the wall, it doesn't do nearly as much. There's also, we talked about using medicine before. It's also possible to push yourself through the flames while invulnerable while the medicine is replenishing your health, so that's another tactic as well. And there it is.
Nice smooth skip of the turtle fight there by Warlink.
Yeah, usually what the game expects you to do is play the frog song, it wakes up, and you have to fight it, swipe it a few times, and it becomes open. The bomb trigger skips the song requirement, and it takes one swing to kill it. The drawback is when you exit back, the head's still there. And what I did is basically the head has no hitbox. And I can just walk through and get to the door. Usually I leave this the right side last, but we haven't seen Smasher.
Smasher is also the mini boss of Dungeon 6, but Warlink definitely skipped that, so we're gonna get the same here instead.
I kind of feel bad for Smasher being in the position that it's in. I think he's just a good boy trying to get you to play with the ball. Like, he wants to play fetch.
Yeah, the ball might be a little bit dangerous, but
he is being just the tiniest bit aggressive. Yeah, this dungeon gives you many more small keys than you actually need if you know your way around. So we will not be seeing Warlink using them all today.
As always, the critical part is finding that nightmare key. Which, this is another dungeon with a lot of checks. At this point, are we at 20? Yeah, we're at 20 seashells, I think.
21.
21.
Whee!
There are 24. There are 24. In vanilla, once you hit 20, all of the remaining seashells will be converted, I believe, into money.
Yeah, I think 50 rupees.
Yeah. Here they will remain seashells, so it's possible to go and do the 20 seashell trade-in, and still find another 4 seashells. It won't do anything. Some more trading quest items.
So I know Warlink isn't go mode. But am I the only one that wants to see a seashell pull here?
I'm going to, because I kind of want to know if that's if it's required normally.
Yeah, there are a few things that he hasn't found that would be required for normal logic. For instance, the level 2 shield, the mirror shield, which you would normally use to deflect that flamethrower in the cave. And also in normal logic to defeat Evil Eagle, because it has that awful phase with the feathers that we all hated so much as kids.
Nightmare key being a little bit elusive this time around.
Do we have time for a couple of donations?
Yep.
Awesome. First off, welcome to all the raiders coming in from Destiny of a Dragon Warrior stream. Appreciate you being here with us. Speaking of which, thank you to Destiny of a Dragon Warrior for the $30 donation. This is for Destiny's birthday present I promised to donate to. Hey, whatever the reason, we'll gladly accept money for the National Alliance on Mental Illness, so thank you so much for the donation. We also have a $25 donation from Y2 Sky going towards putting the Trans Pride Samus sprite back in action ahead of the Buff Kirby sprite. For anyone who's keeping an eye on the Samus sprite build war for the Super Metroid Varia randomizer, that's where the current state of play is with that.
Alright, still on the hunt for that nightmare key. We're gonna have to kill some snacks. I think we might.
Oh my.
So normally you would be expected to do this from the ledge above because that's where the chest is going to spawn. And if you leave the room, or if you go outside and go back to the ledge, then it despawns. But as we've seen, some wonderful examples of, Warlink is very good at super jumping.
There we go.
And there we go.
What a nightmare key location.
What's here? Ooh. Now, I could take the intended way to get there, which may get more nag messages show up, or I can just do this.
That hothead is gone, and we're gonna get our 8th instrument.
It even happens to be the 8th instrument. That's always fun.
Yeah, this run definitely routed us to Turtle Rock kind of late. I always end up diving it kind of late on Key Shuffle as well. Which is why it was definitely a interesting hunt for the Nightmare Key. Normally you come in there, sometimes you already have the Nightmare Key if Key Shuffle's on.
Yeah, the trick that I did to get to that door, short explanation, you see that in that dungeon, if I fall into the lava, I get hurt. What I did is I jump into the lava, pause buffer until I see the splash, and that's the frame that I can jump again, which it's called Jesus jumping, because you usually do it on water, but this we did in lava. And because I did that, I was clipped into the walls enough that I can super jump off the wall and get to the door.
Nicely done. All right, we're going to do the Seashell Mansion check. Was it our required mirror shield?
We do see the vanilla animation. We will see the sword outline take shape. We know it's not a sword. Oh!
The...
You want?
Okay. It's a sparkling alien doll.
Oh! Oh!
If
All
you
right,
ever look, here's a question to you. Have you ever played Twilight Princess?
I have not. I was just about to ask who ordered the Yoshi doll on Wish.
Yeah. Okay. That's a Uku doll. Spelled OOCCOO. And Twilight Princess, it's a bird-like creature, and in the dungeon, it's an item that if you use it, it creates a temporary checkpoint in the dungeon, and you can exit out into wherever and come back to the same spot. And they are creepy looking. But we're going. I want to see what this dig spot is. Come on.
Remember, Warlink did do the Yoshi doll turn-in without the actual doll through bomb triggering. And I feel like, given that sprite, that might be for the best. Because if you give that to me as a kid, I might have had nightmares.
Okay, that answers our question.
We did not. We did not have golden leaves in logical progression. One other note I'll make, just to help those who might be learning the randomizer tonight. If you're asking yourself, why does Warlink have 4 slime keys? Warlink does not have 4 slime keys. That is the number of the golden leaves. Normally that spot is replaced by the slime key once you get it. But the number will remain there to keep track of your golden leaves, regardless if the sprite is up there or not. Also, you can check that signpost by the egg to see how many instruments you need. We knew going into this we needed all 8, but if you are doing a random or variable number of instruments, you can peek that sign as soon as you can access it.
Also, there's another saying. You have to get 4 specific instruments, and that sign will tell you which instruments to get. So you can plan out. Okay, I need to do it this dungeon, this dungeon, this dungeon, and this dungeon.
Yeah, if you're familiar with the Link to the Past randomizer, it's very much like the sign outside Ganon's tower, and then it'll give you some details. Warlink did bomb trigger the egg open, which saves a couple seconds over the actual scene of Link playing the ocarina. So,
you know what? I haven't played it, so there, I played it.
The run has been extra validated. Now, if you're familiar with Vanilla, you might have noticed he didn't go to the library. He didn't look at the book with the magnifying glass. But that's because there is a path in the egg that will always work to get you to the final fight, and it is this one. Left, left, up, right, right, up, left, up.
Yep, it will always be this. As soon as you read that book, the path will change.
Alright, we're onto our final boss fight. This final boss fight is a multi-phase boss fight. Each phase taking a different methodology to kill. The slime phase here takes magic powder. Just 3 sprinkles in, and we're on to the next one.
And we are getting the Swag Shovel Aghanim phase. This phase is very similar to the similar fights in A Link to the Past. Just like in A Link to the Past, you don't have, the idea is that you use the sword. You don't really have to use the sword. A Link to the Past, you can use the hammer or the bug catching net, which is the deadliest and most legendary weapon of them all. But here you can reflect them with the shovel, as we are seeing right now, and it's really cool. A pretty good Aghanim phase. Normally, which attack you get and whether it's reflectable comes down to RNG, so that was actually quite...
Kumaga say in chat saying it's a real groundbreaking strategy. That's fantastic.
Well done.
If you played Link to the Past, this might also look familiar. But you have to do dash charges to kill this Shadow Ganon.
You know what? Let's do it the hard way.
Alright, embarrassing kid story time. I completely had a brain fart the first time I did this fight as a kid, and did not remember you could jump over the swinging arms, so I definitely had a difficult time just trying to run around and dodge them without jumping.
I relate to that very intensely, and in fact, I wrote to Nintendo Power about it. And got a nice letter back saying you can use the feather.
You can jump over it.
GG.
Yep. And timing will stop when the screen goes completely white. Whew.
That's a great run by Warlink there.
GG, well done.
And
And we'll see the fantastic ending. One thing I really liked about seeing the DX version here, really liked the coloring on the Windfish.
And I believe this was deathless for Warlink, so we'll be seeing something special after the credits.
yep.
Get a special surprise for a deathless run on this game.
Play the instrument.
That would be a great idea for a water park ride, wouldn't it?
So it was all a dream.
Or was it?
Or was it?
And unlike in Titanic, there was not room on the log for a second person.
Just while we're waiting for the credits to roll through here, does anyone want to give any shout out?
First off, shout out for the lead developer of this randomizer, Dade. He basically holds this randomizer is open source, so basically you can make a pull request and add change and all that stuff. But he handles all like major stuff, do the async, monthly asyncs, all that stuff. So he does all the heavy work on that stuff. K-Branch, he's the one that made the tracker that I've been using. It's really helpful to tell you what checks are open, all that stuff. My competitors, Flego and Sky, you want to give any more shoutouts?
Sure. Well, first of all, Warlink, I had a great time, and I'm really thankful to you for having me. It's great to be on with Y2 Sky tonight. I would just echo the things Warlink said, and also the LADXR community is really great. So if you watch tonight and you think you might want to jump in, I definitely recommend that you do that. I know I have a lot of fun.
Yeah, and just more props to Warlink. He's the one that got me into playing this randomizer as well. So I've had a lot of fun since I started it. Great run tonight. So yeah, thanks Warlink for putting on the show for us. Thanks everybody at Randomania for having me. My first time commentating a Randomania run, and y'all have been just fantastic. Um, and yeah, thanks to Nami for doing what they do, and I hope we have a good rest of the weekend, and everybody enjoys themselves and play some awesome video games.
Also, I want to give a special shout out to Maddie. She vetted the seed, and one of the main runners of this community, all that stuff. I told her make sure this seed doesn't go sideways or having root checks and all that stuff, and making sure the beginning is nice and smooth. So thanks to her for helping out. And one special thing, when you go deathless, you will get this cutscene, this small cutscene you may or may not see because it's a flashing image. You get this image saying you're a winner. And you're wondering, who is that little cutie cat? We refer to it as Daycat, but that cat's name is Neon, one of Dave's cats. So if you finish the randomizer with 0 deaths, you get this screen. Here's something special with this. Be a little bit somber, all that stuff. This past last Tuesday, one of Dave's casts sadly passed away. So what he did is updated the randomizer to immortalize the kitty this passed with the name Hanky. And while he updated that, he went to the Discord and say, show me your pictures of your pets. So a lot of us, most of us, posted their cats. I posted my my parents' dog and all that stuff. And what he did is just took those cat pictures and immortalized them, and it's a part of a pool. So every time you run a seed and get a deathless run, you will get a "You're a Winner" picture of one of our pets, and in the lower left will be the name of the pet. So if you want to run it and want to see a bunch of pictures of pets, there you go. So
that is so cute. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah. And basically, when Dave sent the picture of my parents' pet to what it is, it's like it's beautiful, and it's really heartfelt that he did for most of our pets. So it's above most of our hearts. It's really thanking him for immortalize our pets with this randomizer. So if you want to see pets, do deathless. So that is all I have to say. So if my comments don't have anything, I shout out all the people out there. So with that, thank you, Randomania, for allowing me to run this again. Hey, if you bring me back next time, I'll figure out a new thing to do. So, or maybe do Oracle of Seasons. I don't know. So, anyways, I'm done. So I'll throw it back to our host, and everyone watching this, enjoy Super Metroid and the other ones for this marathon. So let's see. Oh, and one more question: how many acorns and nag messages I had?
I believe you had 5 acorns and 1 nag message.
5 acorns? Okay, so 40. Okay, and including with the seashells and the green leaves, that would be $70 for Nami's that I will submit sometime over the weekend, making sure one of the bids that show up that is I want to put in. So $70 for Nami for this run. So
awesome.
That is all. So I'm done for the night. I'll hand it off to our host. So everyone out there, have a good evening.
Thanks, everybody.
Awesome. Well, GG's once again to Warling for that excellent run there. And thank you to both Dark Plague and to Wise2Sky for the excellent commentary there as well. Great run. It's excellent story at the end there. With the pets there. I'm sure we all. Well, you know, we all love to see pet pics. What can we say? Real quick, we have closed the bid incentive for the Samus Sprite, and Trans Pride has won. So we'll be seeing Trans Pride Samus pop up in just a couple of minutes when we get this going. We have opened 2 other incentives. One incentive that we have coming up for the first run tomorrow, which is Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. You get to choose Michael Jackson's outfit. You can choose either have a red outfit or a white outfit. If you'd like to throw some money towards that. And then coming up for the next one, the old standard with a twist for the Super Metroid Varia Randomizer. You know it, you love it. It is kill the animals, save the animals, or taunt the animals if you're interested. Basically, as we always do, you get to decide the fate of the animals in Super Metroid. So if you want to decide the fate for those animals and get behind all that, exclamation point donate in the chat room, or pull up the link on the screen there to get into it. We're going to take a quick break. I'm going to run some ads. Everybody get up, stretch, rehydrate, and do whatever you need to do, and we'll be back very shortly.